Good afternoon once again. Welcome to a special edition of the OBX Wave Report where we're going to get a little bit Irish and we're going to talk about the big waves in Ireland, Hang 10. Does it go? I don't know. Does it work? It's like, yo, dude, hang 10. I don't know. I can't really. I'm sorry. I'm aping the Irish accent. This is not meant to offend anyone. I'm just we don't think of Ireland as like a big wave spot, but right now with like all these like winds and storms coming in, Ireland is indeed a very big wave spot. And I guess some people do. I've noticed Nathan Flores do some great surfing out there in Ireland off just like a very rocky, cool, like kind of crazy paddle out kind of beach. Um, and so, yeah, so Ireland is starting to come onto the map as far as like big waves go. And there is definitely a big reason for that because the North Atlantic can feature some crazy storms, especially this time of year. And with climate change, we might be seeing those storms getting amped up even more because the ocean waters are warmer and you've got that fuel, that convective lift for storms. Of course, we'd have to ask the climatologists and the climate experts about specifics on that, but just generally speaking, you got that extra energy there. Um, and so the potential is for stronger storms. And right now, we're seeing some pretty strong storms out there in the North Atlantic, very consistent stormy, very consistent gale type conditions. And wow, big waves in Ireland. I noticed I sent out a little shout out to folks on Twitter and elsewhere to if you guys are on the Irish coasts, please send us your pictures of your big waves, and I will promote your Twitter accounts and um, just send folks your way. So we did have some photographs from Paul E9144 over here on Twitter, and I did want to show you this photograph. It is nuts. So like in the offshore, you see this large wave and you don't get really much of a perspective. Of course, this wave is just broken. I would have been curious to see the face of it to kind of get an idea. And this is the offshore break. Look at the shore break. You've got this, Irish house on the Irish countryside looking out over the North Atlantic, and you've got this enormous, I don't know if we can even call this a shore break, but it's just oh, good God, it's just massive and gnarly and foamy and huge and seems to dwarf this house on the Irish coastline. And that's not the biggest wave. That's just the shore break. I mean, the biggest waves are out here. This one already broke. So we saw significant wave heights in some of the models in the range of 25 to 35 feet in the near coastal waters, and it looks like some of those significant wave heights are translating to the coastline. We might even see some bigger waves in some of the deep water breaks out there, maybe in the range of 30, 40, or 50 feet. I don't know. We'd have to get direct observations there, but wow, look at this picture, just something else. Check out Paulie9144 over there on Twitter. And wow, Paulie, thanks for providing us with this tweet and giving us some context to some of the stuff that we've been seeing in the models from these extreme storms off of Ireland and the UK. I'm going to go back to the models now. Um, and I just wanted to show you we've had these impulses of stormy conditions for Ireland over the past week, and they're expected to continue for at least looks like another 5 to 7 days. This particular model forecast is for January the 12th, so Thursday, and we're looking at significant wave heights just off Ireland in the range of 30 feet for some locations. Significant wave heights can be double that in some of the larger waves. So I don't know, maybe 60-foot waves there off of Ireland in the near coastal waters. Crazy stuff, guys. Right now, I don't think it's quite so gnarly, but you're still talking about 20-foot significant wave heights just off of Ireland in a series of storms that are running in. And we're going to look at some of the models to show you guys the conditions. So right now, off of Ireland, we've got just strong wind conditions. It's a little bit of a respite in the gale force conditions, but we've got another powerful storm here firing just south of England with 50-mile-per-hour maximum, well, I wouldn't say maximum, but 50-mile-per-hour strong sustained winds in some of the strongest bands. And likely higher because this is a coarse model. It's not really getting down to the highest wind speeds. And a very strong gale just roaring up here in the central North Atlantic. And yeah, very a strong gale force to near gale force conditions over a very broad area. I just want to show you the area of the storm. It's huge, over hundreds of miles. And advancing the model, you can see this storm marching in toward Ireland, progressing, and then let's get into so as we get into tomorrow, we've got near gale force conditions to gale force conditions coming in with strong southeast winds roaring in toward Ireland. And then just south of this storm system, we've got sustained winds in the range of 62 miles per hour, very strong sustained winds. And then these conditions sweep in across Ireland again for Tuesday and Wednesday. And the gale appears to broaden south of the storm system. And then by Thursday, like Wednesday, and let's go ahead and advance so we can see what's happening for winds as we get into Wednesday. And then, so let's get the peak of the gale conditions here for Ireland. So we've got some gale force conditions roaring in here on Wednesday. And then looking back at the ocean surface, just looking at the wave models, you start to see those very large waves starting to roll in on late Wednesday and then just continuing into early Thursday. So like getting back to the air. So we get those big waves again predicted to pump up Wednesday and Thursday for Ireland in association with another powerful storm system, and then we get another strong storm coming in behind it. So it's kind of like California and Ireland right now, where you're getting a series of storms. This is also the UK, but Ireland's getting in the teeth of it, particularly for the strong winds and heavy surf. And then we've got this other storm, 62 mile per hour winds, and I'm going to advance the model faster. So we can see that storm starting to kick up in the Wednesday and Thursday, Wednesday time frame. And then, yeah, running in through Thursday with that big wave event that I was focusing in on for Thursday. So the big wave event is actually coming in from another storm that is blowing in some gale force winds here, near gale force conditions. I'll just slowly advance the model, and you can see the gale force conditions creep up into Thursday. With a second powerful storm system, we're seeing sustained winds in the range of 42 miles per hour off the Irish west coast. And then if you get out into the shipping lanes a bit, winds are in the 50 mile per hour range. So very strong winds, gale force to pretty strong gale there, and sustaining gale force conditions through most of the day on Thursday. Looks like just off Ireland. Yeah, it just continues on hour by hour. Gale force conditions starting to uh, yeah, tamp down a little bit as we get into early on Friday. So very strong, yet another gale. And then let's just advance the models into Friday. And so like we have this storm system, the second storm system now heading off north of Scotland. And then we get another one right here out in the mid-Atlantic. So number 3, forming off of Greenland with, again, 50 mile an hour winds, strong gale force conditions, running in toward, oh, and we're getting toward the end of the model. So running in toward Ireland on Saturday, and this is the end of the model. Worth noting we get this big high pressure system starting to form out here in the North Atlantic, which might block up the storms a bit or cause the storms to form more to the north. And if that happens, we get this strong high pressure system. Let's go to the pressure. Let's go to, there we go. All right, so you get this big old high pressure system in the 940, I'm sorry, and the 1040 millibar range starting to form here in the North Atlantic. And this is in the model, so it hasn't happened yet. But it's predicted to form on Saturday, so we'll see if that does happen. And you can see some ridging kind of starting to come in here off of Spain and then running in through the central North Atlantic. So this might block up the storms here and give Ireland finally a respite by the weekend. But before then, we've got 3 storms that are going to kick up gale force winds, high waves, It just like kind of boom, boom, boom. And it gets gnarly for Ireland. Hang 10, baby. Anyone who gets out in there and that surf, please stay careful. That is really, really some crazy surf condition. And man, some stunning pictures of some big waves there off of Ireland. Again, these big wave conditions for Ireland are expected to continue through at least Friday and Saturday with gales just roaring in off the North Atlantic. With all that wind, looks like Ireland is probably going to get some nice wind energy. And so we do want to talk about the other side of this, where we did talk about some possible climatological influences on these powerful storms in the North Atlantic. But on the flip side, we also do want to focus on the potential of clean energy to address, beat back, and ultimately help us beat the climate crisis. And really good Twitter page to take a look at for Ireland is Wind Energy Ireland. We support all the clean energy things, including the wind energy. And it's worth noting that back in November, wind energy for Ireland produced, I think there were days when wind energy was producing 50% of all of the needs for Ireland, and that is really darn cool. One of the other really darn cool things is that Ireland is starting to deploy these massive 15 megawatt wind turbines, which are just freaking awesome, if you ask me. Really radical new wind energy. And I'm just going to go ahead and like this Twitter post by Wind Energy Ireland because, yeah, let's tap those winds running in off of Ireland and those powerful storms. I mean, we might as well get some clean energy benefit out of these strong storms that are kicking up off of Ireland and help us beat back the climate crisis and protect our coastlines from the impacts of more intense storms and rising sea level. We got to do it. We got to do all the things. And Wind Energy Ireland, you're out there right on front with the promotion of the clean energy. I'm going to go ahead and follow you. And yeah, so thank you for joining me for a special edition of the OBX Wave Report. This one Irish, as we see some really gnarly waves kicked up by powerful winds and gales off of Ireland, expected to continue through Friday and Saturday, and then maybe a change in the weather as we get a big blocking high pressure system out there in the North Atlantic. We'll see. We'll see what happens. We'll keep a weather eye to it for you guys. So thank you for joining me once again, and we'll be back to you shortly as we get back to the beaches and give you some local observations here in the Outer Banks, which is I don't know, for you guys out there on the West Coast in Hawaii, across the world, Outer Banks has some pretty big waves, especially during wintertime. It can get kind of radical out here. I was filming Buxton a little while ago, a few weeks back, and we had like 12 to 16 foot surf off of Buxton. It looked gnarly. It was just like the North Atlantic had teeth. I mean, it's just like way beyond my ability right now as a surfer to get out into that stuff. But I don't know. Maybe I'd be curious to see some big wave surfers maybe get out off of Buxton here. I know we have a major surf competition every year here at Jeanette's Pier, which is really darn cool. And I don't know. Some people know, East Coasters know that the Outer Banks can get pretty radical. We're going to focus on it. The North Atlantic has got some really powerful storms, and the beaches here. If there's a swell out there in the North Atlantic, it may eventually likely hit some point on the Outer Banks because the way the Outer Banks just jut out into the ocean here. So putting Ireland on the map for big waves, and Outer Banks, don't neglect us either. We can have some pretty radical surf conditions here as well. Okay, so a little bit of a drawn out farewell for this special edition of the OBX Wave Report. I will